All ladies, our pride.
Hello and welcome to today's edition of Our Ladies Our Pride. My name is Amaka Kia. On today's edition, we'll be talking about something very important that will help develop our society. Homeschooling. I don't know if any of us had a thought of how to do something at home, get a child educated at home. That's if you can pay the fees. But on today's edition, I have a guest who is the proprietress of Lila Blossom School in Abuja. She is Abiola Odumosu. How are you, madam?
I'm very well.
Good to have you here.
Thank you very much.
I'm talking about homeschool. What's your take on homeschool for parents?
Well, homeschooling is good. Homeschooling is about educating your child in the home. And so it's something we all can look at. Although it's when you want to look at homeschooling, it's like your child is not in school at all. You're schooling the child from home. That may not be legal in this part of the world. It's not been legalized, but at the same time, it's not illegal because nobody is talking about homeschooling. We can look at it in the area of giving additional help to your child at home, especially with the situation of public schools in Nigeria, in which children are not getting adequate education that would make them really fully literate. So a mom, a dad could support the child from home.
Talking about not being legalized in Nigeria, what do you think would have probably been the problem, the issue for homeschooling not being legalized in Nigeria?
Okay, maybe I shouldn't have used the word legalized. It's not common. Actually, public schooling, public and private schooling should be the norm. Every child should be in school. That's why I said the word is not legalized. But then you can homeschool your children. In countries like America, in the UK, they have curriculums for homeschooling. You have situations in which children are athletes and they have to be homeschooled so that they can put more effort in their practices. You have musicians that have to go on tour, children that are musicians going on tour, so they have to be homeschooled. Their curriculums that they use is appropriated properly. You have processes and the children can still write their exams. So in Nigeria, we don't have that formally. So I mean, not actually say it's not legalized because I know a few parents have homeschooled their children.
Yeah, but why I use the word not being legalized is because I've never heard of a child who's being homeschooled and probably taking common entrance or all of the examinations that are there.
Okay.
It's always like you have to be registered in a school before you have to do that.
Do those exams.
You know? And that brings us to the moms. What do you think the mother should do
Okay.
at the first stage of homeschooling a child, that if she doesn't find herself in an environment or in a situation where she would be able to enroll the child in a school?
Okay. Well, what I would advise a mom to do at the early stages, probably for children that are less than 5-year-old, is to put some effort in getting materials that would help the child. Really, what we do in the nursery school is to help the children start to write, then read, and understand a bit of mathematics. And those are simple mathematics that a primary school older can do. So you don't necessarily have to be a graduate to do that with your child at home. So you could just go to a bookstore and request for materials for nursery classes and begin to put your child through it without having to spend so much on a daycare or a nursery school, especially if you can't afford it. In fact, with the situation in the country right now, you find that even some private schools are not really performing at optimal level. So you may not be sure that you're getting the best out of the private schooling as well. So you could give your child a solid foundation. I would usually tell my parents in the school that nursery education is about the most important, is the foundation laying stage. If you do it right and the child is able to read and write early and have comprehension skills, reading is not just about the way we were taught when we were the root learning in which we memorize the entire English comprehension text. More like a child is able to read and understand what he has read and communicate it back to you in case you have a question about it. So if you as a mom can do that, it will be fantastic. And it's not difficult. A mother is someone that is naturally gifted. Those are things that God has put on the inside of us. A mom is a natural teacher, except if you don't want to put your mind on it, or you don't have the time to do it. But if you put your mind to it, your child listens to you. So you can easily put the child through the fundamentals, the basics of reading, learning to read and write. And you could go an extra mile and attend a phonics class. Now we use phonics to teach children to read in the school.
Yeah, talking about the phonics thing, I think I also had a challenge on that, because when my children were younger, they were in school, and I was trying to teach ABCD.
And the
teacher, I got a memo from school saying that parents should not teach their children ABCD at home. Okay. And like, so what do I teach them now? It was when I got like the avocado. I remember this was actually what we had before.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know that our fathers had the R. That's why the R back had that thing that they were saying then.
Yes.
But I don't know how the curriculum changed at some point.
Okay.
And it's now making it difficult for us to be able to relate to the children.
All right. Well, I think what had happened in Nigeria is that before now, in a lot of states, we didn't have the nursery curriculum. We had the primary curriculum. Now they've introduced the nursery curriculum, and in teaching language, for them to be able to, especially the English language, for all languages, I believe that we have the sounds for every language. In Nigeria, English is our official language. For you to teach English in the proper way, you must teach phonics to make it easy for the children, so that it won't be learning by memorization, by roots. They memorize every word, and so they are not able to actually do it on their own. So to do the phonics is very easy. I got introduced to phonics as well when my children were still in the lower classes. He comes back home and he says, "Mommy, then I started learning." And what I did then was to go to a bookshop and look for phonics books, so I could understand it. Some of these things come with tips. You know, another challenge we have with women need to be strong. You need to be enlightened. It's an issue of, if this is what my child needs at this time, I'm going to go all out to look for how I can help.
And just get them
and it doesn't have to be expensive. That's what I tell parents. I even, you know, for some mom that can't afford, maybe you can't afford because your husband is not doing well right now. Sometimes you want to feel among. You want your child to be in a particular kind of school. You don't need to go through that kind of stress, because what you really need is for your child to be educated. And if you can spend a little time with your child, it will be all round. Even putting a child in a school from morning till night, do after school. These days you have children coming to school as early as 7 o'clock. Some of them don't return home until till 5.
I see that every day.
It's not
and
the best.
Sometimes, you know, even the ones that use the school bus, you see them being carried into the bus like 6:30 in the morning or 6 a.m.
Yes.
And maybe some of them are still sleepy and
yes,
all of
right.
that. So I don't know. What's your take on that, actually? Because it's a burden. If the child is not well alert, how will the child understand? What's your take on that?
Well, what I have to say is this. We need to start from the foundation of our problem. From the time our nation became a monetized society in which everything has to do with money, I think that's where we got it wrong. We got it wrong from the time in which we put so much priority on money, and so you forget your responsibilities as parents. Denying yourself of something is not going to kill you, and it's not going to make you feel less among your peers. Because at the end of the day, what are we doing? Most of the time we would say that I'm doing this for my child, I'm working because of my child, I want my child to have the best. The irony is that your child may be in the best schools and may not have the best of education still, if you don't put your part into it. I wouldn't want my child to leave home at 6 o'clock. But mommies have to be at work from 7 o'clock, so the child has to leave home at 6.
Yeah.
So it's a serious situation. I really can't, I won't say they shouldn't work. They need the money to sustain the family. Before now, our mommies don't work. Mothers are either teachers, nurses, and a lot of them are housewives. But now, mothers are being forced to work because you need to support.
And even when they're nursing and they're working, they're being called back
We
to the
have
office
babies
in a very
for
short
2 months.
2 months. They
Yes.
come to school.
Not even
because
3, because
the mom has to go to work.
Yeah, and you've taken a part of your 3 months leave before you had the baby, and so by the time the child is not even up to 3 months, you have to put the child.
And you
in
can
the
imagine
crèche.
this is all what women go through.
True.
And yet
It's
that
tough.
woman stands strong in the society. Seriously, I want to applaud women for that, because
Yes.
it's really not easy. Do you think maybe our constitution, we need to make it a little bit flexible for women,
Yes.
especially for nursing mothers.
We
What's
need
your-
to.
What do you advise Nigerian government, sirs?
Well, Nigerian government should begin to plan and set its priorities right. That's where we should start from. And then when you set your priorities right, you will realize that the child today, the children of today, they are the leaders. We keep talking about leadership in Nigeria. If we want to get it right at the leadership level, we need to start with laying the right foundation for the now, and then that will be for the future. So our leaders should look into nursery and primary education. Our leaders should look into legislation that has to do with nursing mothers. 6 months.
6
Let's
months.
start
I
with
think
6
6 months
months.
maternity
Yes.
leave.
And
It sounds better.
But another
Because even
problem,
at 3 months, a child is not,
not
maybe is
ready.
not really ready to leave, get away from the mom.
yes, 6 months is good.
And the mom is compelled to resume at work.
Yes,
Okay.
6 months
Really
is
sad.
good. The other thing would be, I'm an employer of labor, I'm a private employer of labor, then the question would be, am I going to leave that 6 months for the woman to go nurse a baby and then come to work? Those are challenges we will be facing because we don't have 75% of workers in government. A lot of people are unemployed. Those are employed are either in government or in private places. The few private places can't afford a 6 months. But what we could do is probably for that period of time, for private institution, a mom should be ready to forfeit a salary. Someone come in to work for that period and the mother's job is still secure after 6 months. That may be a good place to start.
Or maybe she will be getting like 50% of her pay.
Well,
yeah.
to legislate that for public institutions, good. That's government institution, fine. I
No,
would
government
want them to
institution should be 100%. Then the private one should probably be 50%.
Private ones, 50%.
So that means you're sharing the burden with the society.
With the society.
You know?
It's a tough one, but if we can do it, it would be nice if we can.
So all of this, how will it help the moms to homeschool their children if they are given the opportunity to say, now you're going to be home for 6 months when you have this baby?
Okay.
Would it be proper for them to start tutoring them from like 3 months and start teaching them some of those words?
Yes, it's proper. Make your home education friendly. That's where you can start from. Then talk to your child. One of the things that we lack in this part of the world is communicating with children. Most times what you see in our communication, well, not everywhere, maybe about 75% of people, we talk brashly to children. When they're still small, you're gentle a bit, but by the time the child starts giving you stress, you dump the child somewhere, it's crying too much. We must learn to start communicating with our children in simple, plain, but even with your local dialect. Could be a good foundation for English language for your child by the time the child gets into formal schooling. So talking with the child, buy CDs that have sounds, numbers, let the child just watch. At the same time, I don't advise too much of TV for children. So I would rather want a mom to pick up, you're in the kitchen, probably you have your child backed, and then you're talking to the child, oh, I'm washing the plates now, this is a cup. You just, oh, you want to drink water, and you're telling the child that the child is drinking from a cup. You talk about things to the child, just communicate. We go to school to learn about life, how we are supposed to be able to fit into society. So it's not until the child gets into the 4 walls of school that the child begins to learn about life.
Learning anything.
You start from the day-to-day things you do at home every day. Even when you're cooking, talk to the child about it. You're not talking like you're teaching the child this how to cook rice, but you're communicating.
Like, you know what this is? This is called knife. And this, like
yes,
that?
like that. So when the child is doing those blah, blah, blah they do, form it into words for them. And communicate with, oh, what are you saying? You want to talk with the child. You want the child to be part of what is going on. Take the child out to the park. We don't really have a lot of that in Nigeria, but thank God we have one park, and when you're going out, take the child with you. But not necessarily under the sun. But you don't have time. If you go swimming, let the child be there. They watch the other people swim. If you go to the church, now, I don't advise that. Well, I'm a child worker, even in church, and you realize that babies as early as 3 months, even sometimes the parents are ready to adopt the children for you in the children's church as early as that time. I'd rather say come in and stay with the child in the children's church, or if it's in the mosque, I know they do
Islamia?
Yes. Rather than just sending your child that is 1 year old or 1.5 alone, you could go with the child, spend some time with the child there. That's what I advise for mothers. The bonding helps the child psychological development, emotional development. Education is not just academic alone. Every other areas needs to be balanced so that the child will be well fitted into society and be useful to himself and to God and to humanity.
Oh, thank you so much. All right, let's take a break. When we get back, our guest is going to tell us more on how we can homeschool our children. She's still here with us. Don't go away.
Don't waste your time counting money. Use your cards. Go cashless. This message is from the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN.
Welcome back. I'm still with Mrs. Abiola Odumosu. I'm getting really excited because if I knew some of these tricks that she was telling me when I was nursing, oh God, I would have taught my children a lot. So now, all the moms of today, please communicate with your children. Mrs. Abiola Odumosu is still here to tell us how we can achieve all of this. Talking about the things that we need to get into the house. Are they really so expensive?
No. Get involved in your child education. It's not expensive to put your child in a public school. But what you can do to support that child is to now do the homeschooling part of it. The child gets back from school, make sure the child's homework is done, follow up with what the teachers have done. On Saturdays, they should not just go about loitering. Spend time with them, with their schoolwork, so that you can be sure that they are getting the best. Check the
real
spellings.
Conversation with them.
Yes, if you're educated as a mother, you don't have to wait. Look at the notes that is being given to the child. Go to the market and buy those textbooks. They are not expensive. Most of the textbooks we use, except for those of us that are using maybe some foreign materials, but the normal textbooks you have in the market, 400 naira,
And most of the schools,
600.
they, like you rightly said, the private schools, most of them request that parents should buy books from them.
Yes.
And which is why it's expensive. Because I remember back then, if your father doesn't have the money to buy, maybe it's Macmillan English book you're supposed to use and you don't have it, you can borrow.
Okay.
And we had times that your sister will use and give to you.
Yes.
Your brother will use and give to you.
Yeah.
But this thing is, we're having something totally different.
Yes.
And that's why education became expensive. So what do you say to, especially your co-private teachers,
Well,
private-owned schools?
I'll take it back to governance. Education is not, private school is not expensive, even as it is right now, because the proprietors have a lot of costs to bear. You have to pay your staff and you need to pay them well. You need to maintain your facility. In Nigeria, I can't vouch for any school that has government funding. In other developed countries, they see private school owners as supporting them to fulfill their obligation to the society, because it's a right. Primary and secondary education, every child should have it. And then we are taxpayers, so our children need to have good education. So now private schools are supporting government, and we don't even get any form of subvention or grants from government. The rent you pay on facility is so high. Maintaining the school and being able to meet up with global standards is also very high, because for me, I always focus on global standard. I want children to be relevant globally, not just within Abuja or within Nigeria. Let them be at par with their mates, with their parents, anywhere in the world. If you want to do that, it's a lot of money. So government needs to put money into education, so that the few private schools we have will be a support for what we have already. And if you decide to go to private school, it's your choice at the end of the day.
What would be your advice for women of today on how we can make our environment conducive for the children to be able to learn at home?
Okay. One, I'll start with, if they're in a formal school, follow up with what they do after school. I'll give an example of myself. My kids don't watch TV from Monday to Friday. Saturdays and Sundays, after we've done all the weekend homework, that is when you do that. most times, because you're not there as a mom, the children invest the rest of the school of the
With-
time after
on
school
television.
on TV and submit. Sometimes we have situations here in which children don't come back with their homework. They come back with their homework not done, and you wonder, where is mom? Where is that? You didn't show them. We even have communication book where you have to write that homework is completed. So we need to make our homes more friendly. Let's put educative materials. Buy them musical instruments. I advise musical instruments for parents now. You could buy a keyboard. Let them fiddle with it. If they have music in school, fine. Let them go. Let them learn music in school. But when they get home, put some natural things around your home instead of putting the artificial things around your home. Let them learn from I keep talking about communication. Even if you get back late from work, spend at least an hour with your children.
Sometimes we're guilty of it because we're exhausted.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And then another thing that could help in Nigeria, I was talking with a friend of mine yesterday that one of the problems we have is that we are not planners. Nigerians don't plan. We live with this mentality, when I get to the bridge, I'll cross it.
Okay, let me just cut you there. We'll take a break. When we get back, you tell us how you want mothers to make their environment conducive for learning for the children, and also how they can develop the curriculum for the children and treat them well. Don't go away. We'll be back after this break.
My people, I beg, make you no dey waste time dey count money. Use your card. Go cashless. CBN don dey talk am o. Make you hear am now.
Welcome back. I'm still with Mrs. Abiola. Thank you. I don't know. I feel so bad myself. Oh, I'm feeling guilty.
No, you shouldn't.
I should do
I
more.
made some mistakes too.
I should
even
do
though
more.
I'm a teacher.
No, serious. I should do more, and all mothers should do more. We really have to make our home the school that the children will meet first. Please, can you give us your advice now, your message, because our time is up. I just wish we have all the time to talk about this.
Well, my message to parents, so let's stop excluding the fathers. My message to parents is that we need to plan, we need to set our priorities right. For those that have not had a child, if I'm intending parents, this would be a good advice from you. Sit and plan what you want to see. What you want to do, you know that your child must get educated. It's compulsory. So what do I want to get out of this for my child? And if I've planned about it, that would inform how many children I decide to have. That's part of it. That would involve the spacing of the children. Because by the time you have kids every year, it could be a problem for you to educate them, have the time to educate them properly. And then when you have decided on all of this, when the children start coming, spend some time with them. If it means changing your job as a mom, the period before you had children, make sure you have good qualification, the husband, get a good job or work at the job you're doing. If it means changing your job to have more time with your children, please do it. Because life gives to you what you place a demand on it for. It doesn't just come to you. Sometimes we feel that some people are just fortunate. Everybody at some point has to work and put some effort into the things they are doing. So I would rather say that we should plan. Let's plan and decide that this is the kind of life I want to have, and then you can put some effort to it. Most of the time when you plan for things, it gravitates towards you. But if your mind is not on it, it doesn't. So if I desire that my children should do well in school and I don't want to spend too much money, or even if I'm spending some money, let it give me back. Let me have value for the money. You will plan. You will make your home more conducive. You follow up with the teachers in school. Sometimes teachers are complacent because parents are not following up. If I take my child's notes and I see mistakes, and I give a call or go to the school that, "Ma, please, I don't understand why this is like this." The teacher sits up and know that this is not an anyhow parent. But a lot of parents don't even know what happens in the 9 months we spend in school. They just see the results. If the results is bad, why are you not behaving? Why are you not doing well? You understand? They start comparing the child with another child without knowing
at themselves.
A lot of things have gone wrong because they are not watching. They are not putting in the efforts they need to put in supporting their child in school. And for Parents whose children are in public school is not bad. Give your child the support they need. In fact, I believe our public schools will improve if we as parents give the support that is needed. Because by the time you see it, oh, now I'm paying a little in public school, probably the extra you have, you could use it to support, to help the public school become better. I could decide to donate a chair, a table to my child's school if it's a public school, to make things, after some time, government, this is a voice we can have. So actually make government to do the things that they are supposed to do. We shouldn't just leave children to be in school and then they are just in school. Parents need to get involved in the school. And at home, make sure your home is friendly, less of TV. Involve them, take them out, take your children out. When we were small, our parents take us to amusement park. You don't have to spend so much. Spend time with your kids.
I think the only thing you can actually spend will just be like fuel.
Yes.
Because that's one thing that is expensive in Nigeria.
Yes. Get Ludo, get chess, get Scrabble. There are lots of games we were playing when we were, but we even did Monopoly. All those things have been trashed right now. Let's bring them back into our homes, so that children don't think that the only thing they can do when they are free is either to do some kickboxing or watch TV.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so happy that you gave us this time. We really need to do a lot, especially for our children. They are the leaders of tomorrow. And when we invest in them, our society will be better. I appreciate our viewers. I also want to console those mothers in Yola and in Maiduguri, in all of those northern areas, those ones that lost their children in this crisis, and even those that their children are going up and down, being moved from school to a different school. I know it's not easy, but one thing I know, Nigeria will be better.
Yeah.
This country will be great.
Yes.
Someday, we'll all sing a new song. And I also want to wish our women a happy Women's Day. God bless you all. God bless Nigeria. Happy Women's Day. Bye-bye.